I'm standing in front of a picture of Big Spring. It's an artist rendering of what it probably looked like when John Hunt first settled in this area. It was this spring that attracted him to settle down here. Our story today in John chapter 4 also centers around a source of water that had been there for generations, Jacob's well. In Jesus' time, the well was located in the land of Samaria. Jesus and his disciples were traveling from Judea in the south back up to Galilee in the north, and they stopped at this well. The disciples ran into the nearby town to run an errand, and Jesus was left there with a lone woman who was out drawing water. It was unusual for someone to be there in the middle of the day because it was so hot. But he asked her, "Would you mind giving me a drink?" The woman was kind of taken aback and said, "How is it that you, a Jew, can ask me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink of water?" For Jews and Samaritans don't associate. See, the Samaritans were the descendants of the northern 10 tribes of Israel. That they had been conquered by the Assyrians, and the Assyrians intermarried with them and diluted the bloodline. Jesus, from the tribe of Judah, and also Benjamin in the south, those two tribes had remained their racial purity. Even when they were conquered by the Babylonians and carried off into exile for 70 years, they didn't intermarry. They continued the bloodline undiluted. And so when they came back in the land, this rift kind of started between the Samaritans and the Jews and existed to this day. But that didn't stop Jesus from interacting with her. And he said, "You know, if you understood who it was that was asking you for a drink, you would ask him for a drink." And she thought, "You don't have anything to draw from. Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well?" He said, "If you would ask me, I would give you living water, and this water would become a source of water within you that would well up and overflow in your life." She thought, "Wow, that would be awesome. I could stop having to come out here in the heat of the day. How do I get this water?" He said, "Go call your husband." She said, "I don't have a husband." He said, "That's right. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now is not your husband." She said, "I perceive you're a prophet. Let me ask you a question that's always stumped me. My people think that we should worship on this mountain, and you Jews think that we should worship in Jerusalem. What's the correct answer?" He said, "Let me tell you, there's coming a day, and actually it has come now, that the type of worshipers the Father seeks doesn't have to do with geographical location. It has to do with the location of your heart. He seeks worshipers who worship him in spirit and in truth, to be honest with him, to bare their soul, and to trust him." She said, "I know when the Messiah comes, he will answer these questions for us." Jesus said, "I who speak to you am he." This transformed the lady's life. She ran in town, this woman who didn't want to be seen anybody, and actually went to the others and said, "You've got to come meet this man. He told me everything I ever did. I think he's the Christ." An encounter with Jesus will do this. In spite of your past, he doesn't condemn you. He heals you up. This lady was transformed. Just like the difference between Jacob's well, where you needed to draw something out to get to the water, her life started overflowing to these other people with a life-giving message of the gospel. Just like Big Spring. You notice the people in the picture, they can access the water. That's what God wants us to be. He wants us to worship him in spirit and in truth so that others around us can experience this living water. I hope you have a great day. God bless.